couple more to sign on here. I'll monitor the chat. All right, so it is Shockoey 7 bows. I don't know if so. We're live. All right, welcome everybody to the Winter Camp series that Racing Magpie puts on here. I just want to say thank you all for taking time checking out the show tonight, learning, gaining some knowledge, or if you have knowledge to share, do that too. So tonight, well, just a little bit about Racing Magpie's Winter Camp program. So it's about reimagining the Lakota Winter Camp model of our ancestors. That involves problem solving, community building in our world today by examining the deeper reasons why Lakota people, Nakota people, Dakota people, our ancestors, did the things that they did and why and how we interacted with the universe around us. As plants and trees focus their energy on building strength and growing from the roots during the winter, our community will join and strengthen and grow together each year through sharing and learning. So that's the winter camp model that Racing Magpie puts on. And this year, they took a chance on me and asked me to be the facilitator and coordinator. So I lined up some connections that I have. And tonight we have Conner Roubideaux. For me, it is a full circle moment. I've known Conner since she was just a baby and watched her grow into the young, amazing adult that she is now. But I think having shows like this um, just goes to show why we do what we do in our older generation, so we can have youth. Like, this is the product of all the knowledge building that our communities go through and the sacrifices that a lot of people make, the community make. So we have our youth to carry these things on. And we lost a lot of our culture bearers and knowledge keepers. And I know Conner doesn't take that responsibility lightly. She's a knowledge keeper now of these things, and it's just so awesome to have the youth here and we can hear the knowledge and stories from them. So with that, let me introduce Conner Roubideaux. So Conner has been involved in the language and a lot of the ceremonies and especially social games in her young age here. She currently participates in Handgames, Hanpapecun. Every chance she can. She just was at Founders Day competition there, but she played lacrosse and is currently a student at Oglala Lakota College. So welcome, Conner. You'll have to.
Hi, I'm Conner Roubideaux. I'm sorry, I'm just a tad bit nervous.
That's okay. So if anybody has anything that they want to say or chat, they can put it in the chat too. And I'll be asking Conner and kind of monitoring that. So I just want to say, when did you start kind of gaining your knowledge when you got into Handgames? Because that's when I know you got real into the language and living out there in Rapid City. Was it kind of a struggle for you guys out there or no?
It was. The best way I can explain it is like you go off the reservation and you don't really have that culture tie as you normally do on the reservation. So that's one thing I was really grateful to have is at the time Rapid City had a program called Atiapi, which really helped me get into my culture and learn a lot about it. And one of them was Handgames. And I had a lot of mentors, different mentors from all ages, teaching me different things about Handgames, something new every time. And that's the coolest thing about our culture is that knowledge just keeps building and building. And it's one thing I like. I originally probably start playing hand games. I got introduced playing hand games about my 5th grade year, and ever since I've been playing every year, and now I am probably 23. So I've been playing probably about 15 years now, give or take. I have played in tournament, or the biggest tournament I have currently played in is Lakota Nation. I actually ended up winning my 6th grade year. So that was pretty interesting. And that's one thing it kind of taught me too, is there's different opponents, not really opponents, but different aspects of hand games. And it ranged from a lot of games from being very serious to actually being a lot of fun. And it just depends on who you're playing with, your friends, family, and you build a lot of memories around it. And that's one thing I really like about.
Like I said, when you were real young, Connor and I were kind of talking before the show started, and I was telling her, for me, this is a full circle moment because when I used to teach, I had a hand game a hand game team, and they were just young and they're just so unsure of themselves, and but they were learning, and our youth need that. They need the encouragement. So that's why it's cool to see Connor come in and talk about what she knows about hand games and the culture, because she's a knowledge keeper now, and to see the youth and all that knowledge go into you guys. And just when sometimes people think, oh, they're not listening, how can we get through to them? And you are listening. Your generation is listening, and you guys are the up and coming knowledge keepers. So it's pretty cool. You used to have your hand drum come sing, teach our kids how to sing. So when you go to these hand game tournaments now as an adult, do you ever see any of your opponents that you guys played against? And how, if you do, and when you do, and you guys have to play against each other, what's that like?
It it's very interesting because you see, like I said, playing at LNI every year, you get used to seeing the same kids but from different schools. But the coolest thing is you see them grow up, and now you're playing in adult tournaments, and it's very interesting too because they recognize you as well. And so a lot of these games, I wouldn't say more intense, but like each other's plays, and each other's, like, our guests, like our tells and stuff. So it gets a lot more interesting and a lot more fun, like especially if you could joke around with each other and stuff. um I guess this is probably technically like my first year or two actually playing in adult tournaments, so it's a lot interesting and a lot different too, because now I'm playing not like the same level as me, but like I'm playing with people that are like that have like 20-30 years experience, but at the exact same time we're all on the same level because hand games is literally just like a chance game. That's one thing I always think about and remember.
For sure. So when you first start learning hand games, did your mentors that were teaching you, did they share with you how hand games came about in our culture, and the evolution of hand games?
um the one thing, I guess, I kind of had like really two big, or probably about three mentors that really like taught me like the history of hand games, and they've been like one of the biggest opponents in my life, and especially my sisters. My old mentor, Jeremiah Monroe, Damon Rooks, and Jenny Lee Rooks, and of course Maverick Grey Horse. They've been one of the ones that really like teaches the history of it, because most of the time nowadays, a lot of people just know the basic hand games, just the basic signals, but not the history or like the ways around it. That makes sense.
Can you share with us what you know? I mean,
Um,
I know, but a lot of viewers out there, they don't know that history. To them, they think it's just a game that you play for competition, but really there's history behind those and then behind the songs that are sung as well.
um, so traditionally, so if we, the one style that our people were really known to play was Lakota style. It is finding the mark bones in the two pair bones, but we play with 16 sticks. So each side gets 8 sticks. Each one of these sticks represents a spirit, which totals comes equals out to like 16 spirits, which also correlates with the 16 spirits that created our creation or part of our creation story, which happens to be Unchimaka, or the sky, the ocean, or Unchimaka, the four winds, the whirlwind, um, buffalo calf woman, and one thing I also learned this. So I was actually playing hand games at the horse camp, and when you play Lakota style, you never take away sticks because you're taking away spirit. You're taking away, like I said, each stick represents a spirit. So when you take away sticks, it's taking away that spirit. And sometimes that spirit can be a good spirit. And when you do that, there's a chance that you could be ending up playing with the last 4 of your sticks can actually be the last bad spirits, the 4 bad spirits that correlate to the creation story, which you could have ended like a bad game and stuff. So that's why there's a teaching that went with never, not really taking away sticks during the Lakota style.
Boy, we should have said something back at LNI when the games would get too long. We should have reminded them of that back in the day.
Honestly, I think LNI should be kind of like AHEC. So at AHEC now they only do it at evening time and they split it up in 2 days. So I think I like kind of like how they did it this year. They kind of separated out elementary bracket and high school, but I think it'll be kind of, I guess, cooler if they didn't take away sticks and let the kids play for that long to show them, this is how long these games can go. And like the longest games me and my sister have played in for probably 3 to 4 hour games.
And those are the most fun, I think, when they go that long. Somebody get a memo out to Richard or Roger White Eyes. He runs the LNI hand games. Because really, I think so. Let's back up to the history of hand games at LNI. So way back when I first got into so I played intertribal. My dad's from northern Montana here. And then when I went back home, Lakota style, but when it first started at LNI, it used to be just on the Friday night behind the bleachers in the Barnett Center. There wasn't really a lot of us that played or a lot of us that had teams to play. And then as the years start going by and down the road, and it was just cool to see how that revitalization of the hand games, and it's pretty cool that your mentors taught you the history behind those hand games. So what was the first song that you learned? And don't say Angel Eyes. Don't say Angel Eyes. That's all I ask.
The first song I learned was probably, it's a Kiowa song, Wake Buddha. it just it's just a chant song, so it's easy. literally just Winka Buddha, hi-yo, Winka Buddha. And it just repeats over and over. But in Kiowa, you're kind of calling the other team a goat. So it's kind of teasing and stuff.
Who taught you that song?
My old mentor, Jeremiah.
Okay, so then what was your first Lakota style song? And then sing it to us, please.
Kind of got to give me a second because I'm like one of those people that really are better.
Yeah. And if you start singing Angel Eyes, I'm ending the Zoom. I'm just kidding.
Okay, think I got it. Let's see if I start out with the right lead. Way higher, way higher, way yo higher, higher. Ricochet, opposé, ricochet, opposé, higher. Hey, higher, hey, higher, hey, hey, yo, higher, higher. Ricochet, opposé, ricochet, opposé, higher. Hey, higher, hey, higher, hey, yo, yo.
Nice. And then I know I'm giving you crap about Angel Eyes, but one of my favorites is Money Money, you know? So we all kind of, and the Widow song. So last night, when we were listening to the stories of Ohunkanka, a gentleman sang the Widow song. And I did, there's different beats to it too, because the way I sing it kind of at a slower beat, and then there's this faster beat, and I heard that style last night, and it kind of, so sometimes, dude.
It's really funny. So like when I was first doing at my AHEC practice for OLC, I kind of told them that I'm from across the river. So some of the songs that I do sing, I might sound a little different is because I'm singing it Dakota style on that side. That was one thing I have learned, especially with the Widow song. There is a Dakota style and then there's a Lakota style. So everyone used to get me very confused when I would sing. I was sing Dakota style when they all wanted to hear Lakota style. It was used to throw me off all the time.
And I forgot to mention when I introduced Conner that she is partly from my tribe, Hunkpati Dakota, and then she's Sicangu. She's part Hunkpati Dakota and part dark side, and then part Sicangu Lakota from Roosevelt. The dark side's Kul Wicasa over there. So she's the best of all of us. Yeah, so is that what it is? The Dakota style is just a slower melody, a slower beat. Well, then someone said there's a few what else? The one that I learned was Wilmer Mestis version through my former student. Her name was Angie Blacksmith. She was his granddaughter. And then she taught us that, and I think it was the slower style, the Dakota style. We have a request from the viewers if you would sing the Widow song in Dakota style and then Lakota style. Is that too much? Can you handle? Do you need a hot cup of tea?
I think I could sing it in Dakota, but it's been a long time since I actually sang it in Lakota.
I know. Like I said, I just heard the Lakota Well, I don't know the version. I just know the version that I know. So
Yeah.
how about you sing the version you know? It might be the same.
I mean, see, I don't really know if it's really Dakota style, only because I used to sing it for your team all the time. So,
Yeah.
and so that's how my friends like separated the two. And I was like, I guess it can be, but
Were they calling us slow? Is that what they were saying? Boy, and you didn't tell me. Well, how about you just sing your style, the what you learned? It's probably the one I know too. So it's because they sang it last night, but it just had a faster beat. But I kind of noticed with like the female version has just a lower tempo. Maybe it's because we don't use drums, whereas the male style they sing it a little faster.
and that's one thing I have learned in hand games is it doesn't really matter on the beat because it just make if they want someone to hurry up and guess or hurry up and hide, they make it go faster, even if the original song didn't have that beat.
Or we could sing together. Just kidding. This is your show.
How about you just start it off, then I'll.
I'm just the facilitator and moderator. I don't sing anymore. That life is I'm passing it on to you guys. They had to you had to hear me live back then. But yeah, I don't that's crazy. So they just associated it probably Dakota style because it would you always sang it when you were with us. That makes sense too. So, what do you want to sing the widow song? I know that it's sometimes it's hard when you don't have the drum. I guess I'm used to kind of having that comfort, but it's oh, let me see if I can remember the beat to the style that I know. Um,
Like I said, the
maybe,
only
yeah,
problem I have is leads, and
yep.
so I
I
have
could
to start
try to.
from the melody and go through.
Yep, me too. So I'm thinking of the melody right now. I'll kind of sing a little bit. So the melody that I remember is goes hey ya ya hey ya hey ya ya hey ya hey ya ya hey ya hey ya ya hey hi yo hi yo hi hi yo yo hey yo hey ya hey Hanpapecun wiwazichuki wama yankena mechiata heo e hayo 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 hey yo hey yo hey. So that's what I learned. But then there's faster versions. I think I heard St. Francis sing a faster version too. It was pretty cool. And then I get, it just depends on if you're really into it, you're gonna have a faster style too. Even with like money, that was a nice one too. But there was one song that you used to sing for us. They learned it from you, but I can't remember what it was.
You learned it from me.
Yep, you taught my little singers that. Man, it's been a while. It's been a while.
I'm trying to remember all the songs I used to sing, but they're not. We do
Just how about you do a contemporary song?
contemporary song.
But not Angel Eyes.
Oh, is it that Kunsayo song?
I think so.
Yeah, let me see if I remember how to sing it. Kunsayo, kunsayo, leche, kunsayo, leche, kunsayo, leche kunzayo, hey, ya, hey. Waji, waji, wakamelo, hey, ya, hey. Kunzayo, kunzayo, leche kunzayo, leche kunzayo, leche kunzayo, hey, ya, hey. Waji, waji, wakamelo, hey, ya, hey.
That's okay. So let's kind of switch gears here. So now there's moccasin games. So we have different social games. We have our Hanpapecun, and then we have our Hanpa, the moccasin games. So can you give us a little bit about the moccasin games?
So the moccasin game is kind of, so it's mostly played over in Dakota territory or across the river. It's not really played in like on this side, not where Handgames is such a big event here, but on the other side of the river, moccasin games is such a big thing there. Like, so Cherokee just had their winter Wachipi, and like first place for the moccasin game was like 5,000, 7,000. Um,
Well, I'll jump on your moccasin team. I'll drive all the way down there and jump on if it's that much. But so if for the like I said, you and I know this stuff, but for people who don't know moccasin games, can you give us a little explanation and how it's different from hand games?
so moccasin games was originally created over a conflict between a Dakota warrior and a Ojibwe warrior. And what had happened was they were arguing over who could kill the elk first, because they both happened to see it on the exact same time. So at the time when a hunter would leave the camp to go on the trip, they would have the moccasins on their feet, but also carry a pair of of a spare moccasin. So what had happened was they took their, so when they created this game between the Ojibwe hunter and the Dakota hunter, they took off their own moccasins and their spare moccasins. So what would happen is they took turns hiding a little bead, could be a bead, bullet, arrowhead, but they would hide it in their actual moccasin, just one. So one person would hide it while the other person will guess what moccasin it was actually in. So the guesser didn't have like hand signals. They actually used their own bows, and they would smack that moccasin to figure it to say it's in that one. So that person will dump their moccasin out and say, oh, it's in there or it's not. And that's how moccasin game was kind of created. So the goal is for pretty much to keep them guessing, because there's only one hider and one guesser. And so and the only way for you to win sticks is by being the hiding team. So the guesser has like probably about 4 tries until it switches over back to their team. And so or not really 4 tries, but they call it can never say it right. Ojibwe stick to win. So what that means is it's kind of like a special stick that they have, and they have to have, there's about a total of 5 in each game. And if you win this special stick, the game is over. You need 5 to win them. But usually it's just, they have about like 12 other sticks that are just normal sticks. So each wrong guess, then not each wrong guess. So how it goes is So they guess their first guess. Then if they don't get it, then the other guesses are like extra points for the hider. That makes sense.
Well, it does to me because I know how to play them. But yeah, I think Sis Watson they do every now and then they'll put on a moccasin game tournament there,
Mhm.
so it's fun too. So to you, are the songs different to the moccasin games than hand games?
Um,
Kind of, yeah.
Not really, I guess. They're both because both games are kind of you kind of doing the exact same motion, like same motions, if that makes sense. So a
Hmm.
lot of the um games kind of like go back and forth, like they correlate with hand games, but then again they correlate with moccasin games.
Yeah, there. I didn't know Cherokee had that big of a moccasin game tournament. So, I wonder who won that. Who won that?
I don't know. I was trying to convince my sister to go over there, but she was like, "That's too far."
Yeah, be nice though. Um, so how many teams were there at Founders Day? So for those of you that don't know, Connor, and was it just you and your sister that were the team?
So originally it was so me, my sister, and our friend Sean, but he ended up leaving to go play or to go dance at Grand Entry. So like halfway through the tournament, but the rest of the other half, like the important half, is when it was just me and my sister.
Nice, nice. How many teams were there in the tournament?
Mm, the tournament was double elimination, but I believe there was about 8 or 9.
Oh, okay. That's pretty nice sized tournament. So for those of you I don't know, Connor and her sister Hannah they went to the Founders Day Wachipi and then they had a hand game tournament there too and the two young ladies won. So did you what'd you get? A king size star quilt?
We took third place. Originally on the flyer it said just we got monetary value, so like 200, but half like probably towards the end of the tournament, that's when someone said the person who was running it that the actual college kind of matched who was running the tournament, so they put in about $200 more for each tournament or for each place. So our third place turned into about $400.
I mean, you know, you probably feel the same way too. But that hand games really, it's not about the prize. It's just so much the fun you have, and when you start singing them songs, you know.
I think the funnest thing I had, or the best game I had, was actually I ended up versing one of my old mentors, and he moved back down to Rosebud, and he goes to Sante Gleshka now, and he was playing on their team. But I thought it was kind of funny because the team he was playing on said Wild Oglalas, but he's from Rosebud.
Jeez, them
And
rosebudders.
it was really fun playing against my old mentor, Devin Worldman Soldier, and it kind of brought
Mm-hmm.
back a lot of old memories. He was like literally one of the first people to teach me how to play hand games. So like
Yeah,
like you
and
said,
that
it,
just
it went all the way back around.
a full circle moment. But so what I learned when learning hand games was about how that feeling that's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to bring about that good feeling because during the times when our people were just having it so hard and difficult, and these games were brought to us with these songs to help bring healing back to the people, because they were so sad that they lost their Itancha, that their leader left them. His wife and his two children were just, the whole community, Teoshpaye, was just devastated by that loss. So these games were brought to kind of get them out of that, get the people out of that grief, and sing these songs that to get their mind away from those difficult times, and sing these songs. And I just can't explain it, but I'm sure you feel it too when you play these games and you start singing those songs. It feels like, like everything's being taken, like you have the world on your shoulders and you start playing, and then that weight is lifted. And I go back to thinking about when teaching the youth on my reservation, about, they, even in urban Indian areas or cities where there's a high urban native population, that our kids don't have it easy. They don't, they just have hard lives, difficult lives. And sometimes there's just a limited amount of older people that will help them and care about them. And now, you're not that much older, but I'm sure that's part of you giving back to your community and teaching these games. So how do you feel about that?
It was interesting, especially so like in high school, it it, it kind of got in the habit of teaching hand games, and it was like I used to do it all the time with elementary students, and it's weird to see that they grown up now. Now they're the seniors, and it's it it's very interesting to see that and to know that these upcoming years that they're actually going to be graduating, and it's now they're going to be playing against me, and then now I feel like I'm old, but I'm only 23.
I will never play against you, Hannah, or you and Hannah. You guys just put me on your team. I'll be alternate. Shake my rattle and sing those songs. For me, it would be. I probably feel like how you felt playing. When you teach these songs and these games, and then you want to enter and start playing and having fun, and then it's like, oh geez, but you guys are adults now, or young adults too. So that would be, if I ever had to play you, I'd feel like that too, like geez, I'm old. So now let's kind of switch into the Plum games. And when you learned that, was that during Ateyapi too?
No, that was actually some I kind of like picked up during my OLC classes, because we kind of touched on it, I think, in my Lakota culture class, and it was more so that someone just so happened to have a plum set, and at the time they didn't know what it was. It was a gift from their grandma, and so we really got into talking about it. The best way I could describe it is playing Yahtzee. Like if you ever played Yahtzee, that's what the plum game is pretty much. Um, how it usually starts is you have like five five dice, not really dice, but they're kind of like quarters. Like that's how thin they are. Like one side would have like a blank design, and the other side would have a design. And certain design combinations and would equal so amount of points. And how they did points was they had like a pile of like 50 sticks or 100 sticks, and when each person would get a turn after all the sticks ran out, whoever had the highest numbers of sticks would be the one counted the winner. So how it usually goes is you put 5 of these discs into a bowl, and you kind of like swoosh it. Then you kind of place it, you kind of drop it, and then that's how you look into the bowl, and you kind of like count how many points you have. but it's usually the Plum game is usually like a woman's game. So what I've actually have learned is a lot of traditional men do know how to play. It's just how it's talked about is it's only a women's game, so they can't be seen playing the game. That makes sense. So they'll show you once, so you got to pay attention once.
So then for those that don't know out there, what were used for the dice or the die?
So usually they use plum pits. They kind of would like carve designs, or they would like cut them into like actual disc,
Mhm.
and they would create like stars, stripes, like a little person on these designs, and they would make combinations of what these designs would be and what they equaled out to. So like each tribe has a similar game to it, but the numbers are kind of always changing on what each design or each combination needs.
So then how do they determine who won, or just kind of
Um,
talk about what you know, because there's some people out there that don't know these things, you know?
so so what I know is like, so if you, how do I explain? Like I said, like there's like plum pits or like the disc, and you put them into a bowl, and say you get 3 of them that are blank. The blank ones don't equal any points, but say you get 2 stars, and those 2 stars can equal 2 sticks or 3 sticks, and your turn is ended, you give it to the next person, and say that person gets like 3 walking people and they get 6 or 7 sticks, and you keep going until all the sticks pretty much ran out, and whoever has the highest amount of sticks in their possession is who won the game. And oftentimes when they would play this game, they would actually play gambling, or just like how they play in hand games, they would put up materials. Um,
I have a question from an audience member. He said, do you know any if the women sang songs while playing, and if they did, do you know any?
Honestly, I've don't, but from what I kind of would expect, they would kind of play. They would probably would sing hand game songs, because you want, so it's kind of like certain hand game songs are like calling the bones or calling for your good luck, pretty much, if that makes sense. And the songs they would probably would be singing would be calling for being luck, or having like getting all like calling for the sticks, pretty much.
Um, can you share with us one of those songs where you're calling for the sticks or the bones?
I don't, I'm not very, I've took a few Lakota classes, but I'm not there yet where I could translate some of the songs. I just know songs. It's just the
You
only
don't
one.
have to translate, just sing. When there's people on that know how to translate and stuff, I just want, like, so for me to sit here and talk to you about the knowledge that you show, and it's, I feel like the mother bird pushing the little bird out the nest. That's how I feel. It's pretty cool. And to hear you sing those songs, and it does get intimidating because, you think that all these people who have more knowledge are watching you too. But for me, having knowledge and watching you, like I said, it feels really cool, because you're young and you've retained all this knowledge, and it's just cool to hear the songs. don't feel pressure. Some songs.
Probably the only one I kind of would know is the song I kind of like sang earlier, the Kunsayo song, and that one is Calling for the Bones. So that's the one the only one I really know.
You're being humble. I know you know a lot of songs.
I probably
So
like so the problem with me is I've known a lot of songs. It's just I can match the song, if that makes sense. Like I could listen to someone sing one song once and I could
yeah,
learn it.
yeah.
But if you ask me like a week later what that song is, I'm not gonna remember. That's the bad thing.
It's almost like like they say with the language, I used to be fluent, and in these past probably 5 years I haven't, since I've been an urban native, I haven't been around it. I used to speak with my grandmother, and it's taking longer for me to remember, or I could just translate like that, and now it's like, what is that word? Trying to think, and that, well, even with the Widow song, as many times as I've sang that song over the years, it kind of took me a while to get the melody of the version that I know. So yeah, I totally get it, but it's just it's still pretty cool that you know all this stuff, and if you just hear it one more time, you got it. Do you feel like sharing one more song with us before we go into taking questions and closing out the show?
Um, Trying to think of one.
And remember, viewers, if you have any comments, questions, knowledge sharing, put it in the chat here, and I'll make sure that Connor asks the questions or hears your comments or anything like that. Sorry, it's kind of loud.
Trying to think of one. Um, I literally have the only one I have is probably Angel Eyes.
Do it then, do it, because I just giving you, I'm just smack talking. I like Angel Eyes, those of you who don't know Handgame songs, Angel Eyes it probably was the first one you learned, because I remember who your mentors are, and of course they would, yeah, because that's how kids learn, they relate to that. So I like Angel Eyes too. So go ahead, sing it.
Way oh way oh way ya, way oh way oh way ya, way ha ya, way ya, way ha ya. You're so beautiful, whoa, eyes of an angel, whoa. You got this game under control. Here are the moans, hey, hey.
And that's to distract them from guessing where the bones were. But I like Money Money too. You know who I really liked, that I used to listen to a lot too, are they're from Sistine. Oh, it starts with a W. Wimahia, I think. It's been a while.
What was that? You're kind of
I know. For
like
those of you who don't know, I am in Montana. They moved to Montana. They said it will be beautiful. They said, and it's blizzarding up here for 2 days, and they don't call school off, and you still have to go to work. Everybody's used to this weather up here. So it's kind of making my internet a little unstable.
It's okay.
Um, Now I've kind of forgot what I was going to ask you. So who were your greatest influences as you were learning these songs and these games?
Um, Honestly, I have to say it would be you and Jeremiah, because you guys taught me how to sing traditional songs, if that makes sense. And these are the songs that our great grandfathers had played. That's how long these songs have been around. And I think it's kind of cool that they're still around and they're still going to be around, because a lot of kids are even growing up now learning how to play it or how to sing those songs instead of the contemporary songs like Angel Eyes.
You just made my heart really swell up. Chante Mawashte just made me feel good. Thanks. That's cool. For me to hear, like, because I really don't think I'm that old, but I kind of am. And don't let word get out there that I have knowledge. They might ask me to do more things, and I'm juggling my art career and working full time and trying to drive in blizzard weather.
Don't
It's
recommend it.
crazy. Right? Yeah. It's How's the weather down there?
Oh, it's been snowing since this morning.
Dang, everybody out there, stay safe. Nina usni. Machuita ksto. It's cold. Kind of stopped snowing here, but it's really, really cold and yeah. But get through it, persevere, kind of keep those values in mind that our ancestors taught us. So does anybody have any questions? Hold on. I'm monitoring the chat here. I have to put my old lady glasses on so I can. Anybody have any viewers out there have any questions or comments or parting words for Conner here? I just want to say I really appreciate it, Tonja, for coming on. And I know you were a little bit nervous, but it's pretty casual. And like we were kind of having a conversation before the show even started about how Conner is the knowledge keeper now at her young age, and for me passing down this knowledge and seeing the youth get on shows like this and being able to share what they have, because it's all about being a good relative, and I think sometimes we lose sight of that. As native people, we are our own worst enemies, and sometimes egos get into the play of that. But I kind of want to go back to like I said earlier, I listened to Unkana Richard Move's camp talk about how we all need to be good relatives and how everyone is here to help the human race because they love us. They want to see us prosper. They don't like seeing us in these hard times, and that's the animals, Mother Nature, things like that. We got to take care of each other and listen to our helpers. So that's kind of some party knowledge that I have. We have about 2-3 more minutes if anybody wants to give Conner some words of encouragement. Oh, I forgot to mention, audience, I want to let everyone know that Conner, did you make the dean's list for OLC?
Last semester, yes.
Nice, nice. See, so, and you're still keeping your studies up, and you graduate this
I
year?
Hopefully, with everything going on, that I should be able to graduate at the end of this semester.
Yeah, so let me read you a little bit of comments. We have Jeremy Ready Go. He said, Wopida, Ichichie, Upiha. Yaskan, keep it up. I had to put my glasses on. I couldn't see. Keep it up. And then we have one from Contessa Big Curl. She said, "Thank you for singing and sharing. You'll get used to it. The youth still need to hear you." So those are some words of encouragement. And Cynthia Wopilai Chichie. So you did a really good job. Let me see if anybody else has any more comments. Ronnie said, "Thank you so much for sharing and making yourselves available. She enjoyed listening to you. Takes courage to be on the spot and sharing your knowledge. But that, everybody's learning from you too, So we got to keep that circle going. There's gonna be times where some of us aren't gonna be here. And I think coming out of we're still in the pandemic, and that's what our people are having to deal with right now, is losing our knowledge keepers and culture bearers because of COVID. And that's why it's vital that we have these shows that are live streamed or recorded and later to show our youth, because hopefully it won't, they don't, like you said in the beginning, when growing up in an urban setting, you don't have access to things like this unless it's through technology and spaces like Racing Magpie that can offer shows like this and be beneficial to our community. So, thank you very much, Pidamia. Pidamia yapi to all our audience. Petu washte. I hope you all are safe. Remember, be a good relative. Check on our unsheltered relatives, animals out there. Please be safe, everyone. And there'll be another session of the Winter Camp series tomorrow. I will have Cecily Rose. She apprenticed under Mike Marshall. She does parfletch art, painted parfletch art. And if you want to learn more about that, tune in tomorrow the same time. Check the social medias. They'll have the links on there. And thank you, Connor. Tell your mom I said hi. Tell your sister and brother. Everybody I said hi.
Will do.
All right. I love you.
Love you
Thank
too.
you, viewers, for coming and being enthusiastic and showing our youth encouragement. That's what they need, the encouragement from all of us. So thank you very much. Everybody have a good night.
You too.
All right.